Hi everyone, my name's Beck, or Paint Terror. Welcome to my first YouTube video. I recently added to my collection of art supplies, so today we're going to go through what I picked up and swatch some of them out. I've also included clips of this painting here using some of the supplies from the haul. First up, we have this set of Schmincke Norma Blue water mixable oils. I picked these up as an alternative to my traditional oil paints. This beautiful set of 8 comes with titanium white, lemon yellow, cadmium red hue medium, madder red, Prussian blue, chromium oxide green, natural light ochre, and mineral black. I also picked up 5 extra colours: Indian yellow, alizarin crimson hue, phthalo blue, cerulean blue, and phthalo green. Along with those, I picked up the Schmincke Accelerant medium number 3 blue, to speed up the drying time. I also picked up these 2 tubes of Aqyla paints. These are water-based alkyd resin paints by the brand Kusakabe. I got 1 Payne's Grey and 1 titanium white. I've been doing more ink work lately and I wanted to add a glass dip pen to my arsenal of tools for my ink supplies. I found this one at my local art store and I couldn't go past this beautiful coral colour. You know you're a regular at an art store when you walk in and they say, "We've got new paper in since you were here last." This is a Clairefontaine bamboo paper. It's 250 GSM, it's quite thick, not a lot of texture. I haven't seen anyone use it yet and I'm really looking forward to trying it out. Next up, I added to my Herbin Szmal watercolour set. I bought the lemon yellow, Naples yellow light, phthalo blue green shade, phthalo green blue shade, permanent alizarin crimson, Payne's Grey, and the art store that I go to was kind enough to give me samples of Van Dyke Brown, Caput Mortem, and Shibbish Grey. I found this old palette, which is where they live for now, but I'm hoping to add to that collection soon. I have wanted to try Qor Watercolours for the longest time, and I finally got my hands on this Cavanaugh portrait set of 6. If you haven't seen Ali's work, I highly recommend checking it out. There's some videos on YouTube where she talks about her techniques and her use of this limited palette, and I just found it so inspiring. Included in this set is nickel azure yellow, pyrrole orange, cerulean crimson, sap green, ultramarine turquoise, and Payne's Grey. The art store that I go to was kind enough to give me some free samples. I have these Schmincke soft pastels, these Schmincke sample dot cards. I have a set of Schmincke watercolours that I put together myself, but there's definitely gaps in that set that I would love to fill. I was also given the biggest set of watercolour sample paper. This is the Clairefontaine 100% cotton watercolour paper. I have both the 640 GSM and the 300 GSM in both hot and cold press. I'll be using some of this later to do some swatches on, and in the future to do a few little test paintings. Can't leave the art store without some canvases, so I got these floating frame canvas sets and some wood panels. I don't have a lot of experience with wood panels, so I'm looking forward to trying these out. Look, was this set of 150 Prismacolor pencils completely unnecessary? Yes. Did I do it anyway? Yes. In my defense, they were heavily reduced on price. These were on sale, my dude. I've been wanting to incorporate colour pencil into my mixed media work, layering on top of watercolour and gouache and, final touches. Colour pencils come in really handy for that, and I definitely have other sets of coloured pencils, but Prismacolors definitely have their place in that sense. Yeah, I went all out. I got the 150 set. It was on sale. I got the Big Mama. We did it. We're here. It's very exciting. And now it's time to swatch. First up, we're going to swatch out my Herbin Szmal watercolours on the Clairefontaine sample watercolour paper that I got. Starting here with the lemon yellow. I love how pigmented these watercolours are. It reminds me a lot of my M.Graham set. I find those to be quite pigmented as well. Now this one here was another one that I was given as a sample a long time ago, and I can't find the info card for it. Usually I keep those, but I can't find it. But I think this is gold ochre. This one here is the Naples Yellow Light. Next we have Permanent Alizarin Crimson. A lot of the colours on this palette are the ones that I tend to gravitate towards for most palettes. The lemon yellow, Naples yellow, alizarin crimson is a favourite. The phthalos, blue, green and turquoise are always ones that I pick up. You will find that it's a pretty repetitious thing throughout all my watercolour palettes. All my paint palettes in general. There we have magenta, and this purple was another one that I'd been given previously as a sample, but I don't have the card for, but I'm pretty sure it's mineral violet. In order for this row, we have phthalo blue, phthalo turquoise, and phthalo green. This here is Caput Mortem. Look at the way that pigment spreads. This colour is absolutely stunning. Not a lot to say about this Van Dyke Brown. There was not a lot of pigment there. Yeah, wasn't a huge fan. Now this one here is called Shibish Grey. I think. I don't know. The spelling is on screen right now. I looked at it. I was confused. I googled it and that was what I could find. So Shibish Grey. Never heard of it before. Beautiful colour. And to finish up, a must-have of mine is Payne's Grey. Here they are all swatched out. At the time of recording this voiceover, I've done paintings for some of the other art supplies in this haul, but not this Herbin Szmal set. If you have any ideas for subjects that you would like to see in a future video, please let me know down below. Now we're moving to my Etchr sketchbook. I absolutely love this thing. I use it for everything. I've never filled a sketchbook more than I have this one. We're going to be swatching out my Cavanaugh Qor Watercolour set. Immediately after swatching this, I jumped straight into doing a study. That's how much, like within 2 seconds, I was swatching out the Pyrrole Orange and just wanted to dive straight in. I love these paints. I cannot wait to go and buy more already. Yeah, really enjoyed swatching these out. Really enjoyed painting with them. So that'll be the next video out. In order here we have the Nickel Azo Yellow, the Pyrrole Orange, the Cerulean Crimson, Sap Green, Ultramarine Turquoise, and finally Payne's Grey. Here we have the Schmincke card samplers that I was given, and I immediately fell in love with this transparent red deep. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'd like to know, if you use watercolour, what brand do you prefer? I know for a lot of people it's Daniel Smith, but I'm always looking for recommendations. As I've mentioned, I currently have Daniel Smith, Schmincke, Roman Szmal's, M.Graham, and I think that's it. I did have a Cotman set, but I don't like those. But yeah, as I mentioned, always looking for recommendations. If there's something you think I should try, please let me know. This silver and gold did absolutely nothing. Same with this titanium opaque white. I don't know why I bothered. I didn't bother with the silver on this dot card because we saw it on the last one. These next 4 colours on this dot card though are absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to let the video and the music play, and I will see you when these ones are done. Here are these dot cards, all swatched out. This is a lot of fun. It's nice to be able to play with paint and just switch the brain off. Okay, so next I decided to try my Aqyla water-based resin paints, which I have no experience with. I didn't even know water-based resin paint was a thing until this week when I went to the art store. So I wasn't sure at first about these paints. Easy enough to clean up and very easy to work with, which I wasn't expecting. The lady at the art store said that they dry very quickly, which they do, but not as quickly as my acrylics. So I could still work them, I could still get a nice gradient, which you will see in a minute. Once the paint started to, I don't want to say dry on the brush, but if there wasn't enough water there, it would get very tacky. Have you ever worked with these? I couldn't find very many videos on YouTube or on the internet in general about these paints, and the ones that I did find from like Mini Szmal and Lindsay the Frugal Crafter were from years ago. So I left these for about 30 minutes to sit and came back and they were completely touch dry, but you could re-wet them and rework it slightly. It does stain a little bit, but there is some sort of liftability there, which is really, really cool. So let's get into the painting. This reference is from Pinterest. I will link it down in the description. As I showed earlier, I picked up 2 tubes of the Aqyla paints. This is my first study with them, and I'm using Payne's Grey and Titanium White. Whenever I'm trying out a new medium, I'll usually gravitate towards Mars Black and a Titanium White, so I can play around with a few studies in grayscale to get a feel for the medium and try out techniques, and to see if the medium's even for me, if it's something I'm going to enjoy. It's just a good way to test something out before jumping right into it without breaking the bank. I've found over the years it's been a great way to test new mediums or brands of mediums, and it helps that working in grayscale is one of my favourite ways to paint. I find colour to be intimidating at times. I'm still not overly confident with my colour mixing abilities, and I don't have an in-depth understanding of colour theory, though I am looking to undertake some sort of study to gain a deeper understanding of colour theory and lighting and values and so on. Because up until now, I've kind of just thrown paint at the canvas and hope for the best. So Mars Black will be the next colour I add to the collection, though the Payne's Grey and Titanium White worked out really well for this little study. This is still the only study I've done in this medium so far, so my knowledge and experience with water-based alkyd resin paints is very limited, but I'm hoping I can do a couple more in the next few weeks. If that's something you guys would like me to film and share, please let me know. So on their website, Kusakabe mentions that these are like watercolour with their drying time, so you can continue to paint in less time. However, the paint cures slower than acrylics. As we know, acrylics have an extremely fast drying time, and once they have dried, you can only paint over them, they can't be reactivated. The manufacturer mentions that Aqyla paints become water resistant after approximately 1.5 months, so there's no reactivating after that time. I almost feel like this is a happy medium in between oils and acrylics that I've been looking for. I've got the fast drying time and the easy cleanup of acrylics, with the freedom of being able to reactivate and that little bit of longer working time like I have with oils. As someone who enjoys working in mixed media, my next question was, can this be used with other mediums, and what surfaces are best suited for this kind of paint? Here I'm just trying, it's like an oil and acrylic pad. It's not like canvas sheets, it's like more of a weird cross between paper and canvas. Just a cheap substrate to give these paints a go. I actually showed this painting to my local art store, and they mentioned that they'd used watercolour paper and that the paint didn't quite cooperate. So it would seem, from our very limited knowledge at the moment, that watercolour paper or any kind of absorbent surface probably isn't best suited. Though the Kusakabe website mentions that you can use a variety of surfaces for these paints, including paper, canvas, wood, glass, metal, ceramics, and some plastics. Aqyla paints are compatible with oils, acrylics, watercolour and gouache, though when you're using the water-based mediums, you want to use them as a base for the Aqyla. So you'd lay down your watercolour, your gouache or your acrylic and then put the Aqyla on top. Now what I found interesting on the website is it does state that you can use these paints over oils, but I'm not sure I'd be game to try that. I don't think I'd use these really in conjunction with any medium, to be perfectly honest. Just, they're a great standalone medium. I really enjoyed this painting. I thoroughly enjoyed the process. Obviously this painting is nothing spectacular, but it's also not meant to be. It's just a study. I was trying a different approach. It was a very loose style compared to what I'm used to doing. I'm used to working in quite tight, refined, rendered details and, you know, that kind of thing. So this painting was a little out of my comfort zone because I was trying to loosen it up a little bit, and that's why I'm working so all over the place. According to the information on the tubes, the titanium white is extremely light fast, and the Payne's grey is fairly light fast with a rating of 3 out of 4 stars. These are also extremely affordable paints. I think the 18 set of these paint was like $80 Australian or something. So really, really affordable. I'm not entirely sure how big those tubes are though. They did have a bit of an odour to them, but it was a low odour, so it wasn't overly strong, but it was present. And I usually work in a pretty well ventilated area because I'm so used to doing oils. It didn't bother me. It's not something that I'm sensitive to. I've never been sensitive to any kind of medium or solvent that I've used in the past, but it is something that I thought anyone who is should know about these paints. Usually when I'm starting a new medium, I'll do a ton of research and learn as much as I can on techniques and surfaces and how to best use the paints, if there's other things I should incorporate, stuff like that. But with these Aqyla paints, the only videos I could find were from Minnie Szmal and Lindsay the Frugal Crafter from years and years ago. So I decided to just go in blind, and honestly the experience was very freeing. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's something I should do more in the future. It's one thing to hear the information and try to gain knowledge that way, but it's always far more beneficial to jump in and learn from your own first-hand experience. I think I'm always too busy stressing on wasting expensive materials or too caught up procrastinating, and it really holds me back from so much that I could be gaining if I just got out of my own way. putting the finishing touches on this painting here. I really enjoyed doing this study. I really enjoyed working with these paints. I'm still figuring out the video and the video editing, and so I hope today's video was somewhat bearable. Thank you to those of you who have stuck around to the end. You can find links to my socials in the description if you'd like to check out more of my work, keep up to date, or support me further. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps me out. That's it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.